And there, I think there's a recognition from Carlo Ancelotti that they're going to have a better chance of winning games in the World Cup if they're a counter-attacking team.
24 years, 2006, 2014, 2018, 2022, 4 World Cups, different stars, the same ending. Brazil's galaxy of talent knocked out by more organized teams.
The Brazilians sink to their knees. The only word you can think of is total disbelief right now.
And in 2026, the man hired to end it did something stranger than anyone expected. His first move wasn't to fire up his stars, it was to warn them. He didn't promise more magic, he warned against it. To understand why, you have to understand who Carlo Ancelotti is. He is the first foreigner in over a century hired to lead Brazil full-time, a decision that, not long ago, would have been heresy, and what he spent his whole life doing to teams exactly like this one. Start with the warning itself. Before a friendly against Panama, the cameras asked Ancelotti about Brazil's great star, the next Pelé, the next Ronaldo. He refused the question. Brazil doesn't have a Pelé, he admitted, doesn't have a Ronaldo, but we can have a shared responsibility. The senior players carry more, the young ones carry less, and the pressure gets split until it shrinks. It sounds modest. Coming from him, it's a thesis. Individual quality is not enough. He's earned the right to say it. 5 Champions Leagues, more than any manager in history. League titles in England, Italy, Spain, France, and Germany. 15 trophies across his time at Real Madrid. But the trophies aren't the interesting part. How he won them is. His best teams were almost never the most beautiful. They were the most balanced. They defended together, absorbed pressure together, and then punished you in 10 seconds of transition. Those Madrid comeback nights that looked like luck were nothing of the sort. They were structure, the exact thing that has knocked Brazil out for a generation. That's the quiet irony sitting in the Brazil dugout. The coach hired to deliver joy spent 20 years building the machines that ended Brazil's joy. He has stood on the other touchline. He knows better than anyone how this team gets eliminated, because he's the one who used to do the eliminating. So his instinct isn't to add another star, it's to fix what the stars can't fix alone. Look back at the 4 nights. 2006, undone by a France with shape and patience. 2014, 7 goals from Germany, a national wound that still hasn't healed, a team of soloists dismantled by a team that moved as one. 2018, beaten by a disciplined Belgium. 2022, frozen on penalties by a Croatia that simply refused to break, losing 4-2 from the spot after a draw.
Brazil's players are on the floor. Croatians are up in arms in the air. They can't believe it. Everyone in the stadium is stunned, even the Croatian fans.
Every time the same equation. More talent, less structure, out. Ancelotti wasn't hired to repeat that sentence. He was hired to interrupt it, and he has beautiful problems to solve. On one wing, Vinicius Jr., his own player from Madrid, the 2024 Ballon d'Or runner-up. For his club, a monster, roughly 180 goal involvements in 250-odd matches across 5 seasons. For Brazil, barely 17 goals and assists combined in nearly 50 caps. The same feat, a fraction of the output. It was his goal against Paraguay that sealed qualification, so the talent has never been the question. The conversion has. On the other wing, Raphinha, Barcelona's Raphinha. The 2 fiercest rivals in club football, side by side in one attack. He arrives with 11 international goals and the bearing of a leader, more goals for Brazil than Vinicius has managed, in fewer caps despite being 4 years older. He was the team's top scorer in qualifying with 5. Ancelotti called him the best player in the world at attacking depth, and meant it. Between them, 2 of the most feared wingers alive, the goals for Brazil still don't add up to what one of them produces for his club in a single season. 2 Galacticos, 2 clubs that can't stand each other. One question hanging over both of them: are they here to be brilliant or here to win? Because brilliance has a habit of deserting this team at the worst possible moment. Consider Neymar, 79 international goals, more than any Brazilian in history, and not a single cap since October 2023. He reported to camp carrying a grade 2 strain in his calf and watched the 6-2 win over Panama from the stands, while younger men scored the goals that were once his. Ancelotti kept him in the 26 regardless. Asked whether he'd still have picked Neymar had he known the true extent of the injury, the Italian dodged it with a grin. If my granddad had wheels, he'd be a car. You don't build a World Cup on hypotheticals. His bet is that Neymar is fit for the Morocco opener, and if not, the Haiti game after it. Brazil's biggest name has become a race against the clock, and the whole tournament plan bends around whether he beats it. Then there are the players lost before a ball was kicked. Rodrygo, a knee injury, out for months. Eder Militao, injured. Estevão, the teenager the whole world wants to watch, injured. A large slice of Brazil's present and future sitting in the medical room, and the decision that still stings. João Pedro, Chelsea's player of the season. 20 goals across the campaign, 15 of them in the Premier League with 5 assists. By every number on the page, he belonged on the plane. Ancelotti left him at home and apologised publicly. The forward, he admitted, probably deserved to be on this list, but they chose another player. But a squad isn't a spreadsheet. He chose experience, a settled dressing room, and the shape of the whole over the form of one man. To understand this Brazil, you have to understand that choice. It is the philosophy made real. So where does the actual work go? Not the attack. The attack will always find a way. It goes into defending. Ancelotti has said it plainly. They've worked heavily on defence, and they'll keep working on it every day until the final match of the tournament, without strangling the creativity up front. He just refuses to be naive. The fullbacks are why. Alex Sandro is 35, Danilo, Wesley, Douglas Santos, honest professionals, none of them the quickest anymore. A smart opponent will target those flanks and run at them all night. So Ancelotti's solution is the oldest one in football and the hardest to sell to superstars. The wingers track back, Vinicius defends, Raphinha defends. The shared responsibility he keeps preaching isn't poetry, it's 2 of the best attackers alive sprinting 40 metres to cover a tiring fullback. That's the deal. There isn't another one. The blueprint was visible against Panama, 2 holding midfielders behind a front loaded with forwards, Vinicius scoring and creating, Casemiro, one of Ancelotti's 2 captains alongside Marquinhos, anchoring the middle. But 6-2 flattered no one. Ancelotti changed almost the entire 11 at half-time, still measuring who can carry weight and who only carries themselves. They're all auditioning, every one of them, and they limp to get here. Brazil lost matches in qualifying this shirt is not supposed to lose. The world saw a team in decline. Ancelotti saw a team that had everything except a spine, and a spine is the one thing he knows how to build. So the warning was never an insult to the stars, it was a confession. The man has spent a career as the organised team that sends the galaxy home, and he knows what beats Brazil because he has been what beats Brazil. The talent was never the problem. In 2006, in 2014, in 2018, in 2022, the talent was overflowing. The structure wasn't there. Now the coach who used to exploit that gap is the one paid to close it. Brazil open against Morocco on June 13th. 5 titles in the cabinet, and a 6th that's made this country wait 24 years. The Galacticos have the quality. Ancelotti has told them the one truth no one else would say out loud. Quality on its own has already cost this team 4 World Cups. The only question left is whether they were listening.